I still dream about the sound of her arm hitting the floor, not with a thud, but with a terrible emptiness, like something sacred being desecrated. Most mornings I wake up tasting sand and copper, my sheets drenched in sweat that smells like someone else's fear. Today is no different as I drag myself from bed, bones creaking like artillery fire in the distance. The bathroom mirror shows what's left of me at 68. A face carved by deserts and jungles, eyes that have seen too, much death to be surprised by anything, and hands that haven't stopped trembling since 1973. The doctors call it a symptom. I call it memory. By 9:30, I'm sitting in my usual corner booth at Marlene's Diner, watching Lauren navigate between tables with the precision of someone who's survived worse chaos than a breakfast rush. She balances 3 plates on her left arm, tucking a coffee pot against her hip, while the empty sleeve of her right arm is pinned neatly at the shoulder. The regulars barely notice her missing limb anymore, but I catalog every adaptation, every small victory in her movements. "Morning, Jack," she says, sliding a black coffee and wheat toast in front of me without being asked. "Sleep any better?" I grunt something non-committal. Lauren doesn't need my nightmares on top of whatever keeps her up at night. "How's the arm today?" I ask instead, my standard question. Her smile tightens slightly. "Same as yesterday. Still not there. It's our ritual, this exchange. Small talk skirting around bigger truths. I've been coming to Marlene's every day for 8 months, not for the mediocre coffee or the familiar menu, but for these moments with Lauren. To make sure she's still standing, to remind myself that survival comes in many forms. I've never told her I know what happened in Helmand province. Never mentioned that I recognize the particular vacancy in her eyes, the same one I've carried since Vietnam. We're strangers connected by wars fought decades apart, but she doesn't know that. To her, I'm just a retired widower who overtips and doesn't make small talk about her condition. The bell above the door jingles, drawing my attention to 3 men entering the diner. 2 I recognize as local businessmen, Mason Reeves and Dylan Cooper, who run what everyone pretends isn't a protection racket for smaller shops downtown. The third is Tyler Hargrove, the mayor's son, whose BMW is usually parked outside the most expensive bar in town. Something in my gut tightens, an old instinct for approaching danger. They take a booth across from mine, laughing too loudly, radiating the particular arrogance of men who've never been told no. "Hey, Stumpy, 3 coffees over here," Tyler calls out, snickering with his companions. Lauren's face doesn't change, expression as she acknowledges the order with a slight nod. She's heard worse, I can tell. The diner has gone quieter, other customers suddenly fascinated by their meals. "Jesus, I'd forgotten about the one-armed wonder," Mason says, voiced deliberately. "Carrying, think she can still give a decent hand job? Or would that be half price?" I set my mug down carefully, feeling an old, familiar heat rising in my chest. "Not yet," I tell myself. Wait. Assess. 45 years of discipline holds me in place. Lauren approaches their table with practiced calm, balancing their coffee mugs with remarkable dexterity. As she sets down the first cup, Tyler reaches out, grabbing her empty sleeve. "How'd you lose it anyway? Birth defect? Or did Daddy get mean with the belt?" Lauren pulls back, her composure cracking slightly. "Please don't touch me. Come on, we're just having fun." Dylan grins, showing too many teeth. "Not like you've got much else going for you. How does someone like you even get hired? Must be some disability quota thing, right?" Other customers are staring at their phones, the walls, their food, anywhere. But at the brewing confrontation, the manager is conveniently in the back. No one wants trouble, especially with the mayor's son. "Kind of brings down the atmosphere, don't you think?" Tyler continues, still holding her sleeve. "Who wants a freak serving their food? Maybe you should be on display somewhere instead, like one of those curiosity shows. Something snaps inside. Me, not with the hot rush of anger I'd expected, but with a cold, crystalline clarity I haven't felt since my last firefight. I stand without deciding to, my body remembering its purpose before my mind catches up. My boots make no sound as I cross the diner floor, decades of training asserting themselves automatically. I stop beside their table, and 3 pairs of eyes swivel up to my face with the slow recognition of prey realizing a predator has entered their space. With that one arm, I say, voice steady and quiet, she's done more for this country than the 3 of you combined will accomplish in your entire worthless lives. The silence that follows is absolute. Even the kitchen sounds seem to pause. Tyler recovers first, releasing Lauren's sleeve to stand, puffing his chest like a rooster with too much confidence. Who the fuck do you think you are, old man? You don't know who— I know exactly who you are, I interrupt, feeling nothing but a detached interest in what will happen next. The mayor's disappointment, a trust fund parasite who's never worked. An honest day, a child playing at being important. Mason rises now, face flushing red. You need to walk away, Grandpa, now. I don't move. Behind me, I sense Lauren backing away, clearing the space. Smart girl. Always create distance from a potential combat zone. Last chance, Dylan warns, reaching into his jacket. The movement is telegraphed, amateur. When his hand emerges with a switchblade, I almost sigh with disappointment. Before the blade fully extends, my hand is already moving. Years may have slowed my reflexes, but muscle memory remains perfect. A gift from Uncle Sam that keeps on giving. I catch his wrist, applying pressure to exactly the right nerve cluster. The knife clatters to the floor as Dylan gasps in surprise and pain. In the same motion, my other hand forms a fist that connects with Mason's nose, not with brutal force, but with surgical precision. Cartilage crunches beneath my knuckles. Mason stumbles backward, blood streaming between his fingers. Tyler lunges forward, swinging wildly. I step aside, using his momentum to guide him to the floor. My knee presses into his back, his arm twisted up at an angle that promises agony if he struggles. Please, he whimpers, all bravado evaporated. My father will— Your father, I say calmly, increasing the pressure slightly, should have taught. You respect a long time ago. The entire sequence takes less than 10 seconds. The diner is frozen in tableau. Mason clutching his broken nose, Dylan nursing his wrist, Tyler pinned beneath me, and everyone else staring in stunned silence. I release. Tyler, stepping back as he scrambles away like a crab. You're done here, I tell them. Pay for your coffee and leave. The 3 men retreat, throwing money on the table before hurrying out the door, Mason's blood dotting the linoleum like breadcrumbs. As the bell jingles behind them, I become aware of every eye in the diner fixed on me. The adrenaline recedes, leaving me suddenly tired, an old man who's revealed too much of himself. Before I can return to my seat, police sirens wail in the distance, growing louder. Someone called 911, not surprising in a town this size, where the mayor's son being manhandled is practically a capital offense. You should go, Lauren says urgently. Jack, they'll arrest you. I shake my head. I'm too old to run. Besides, there are witnesses. I only responded to a threat. It's Tyler Hargrove. His father owns half the police force. The sirens stop outside, red and blue lights strobing through the windows. 2 officers enter, hands resting on their holstered weapons as they scan the diner. Their eyes find me immediately, the old man standing alone in the aftermath. That him? One asks the room. At large, several people nod reluctantly. Sir, we need you to come with us, the younger officer says, approaching cautiously. There's been a complaint of assault. I don't resist as the officer reaches for his handcuffs. This isn't my first rodeo with authority, and at my age, what's— Another night in a cell? Some battles aren't worth fighting. Wait. Lauren's voice cuts through the murmurs. She steps forward, reaching into her pocket with her left hand. What she produces isn't what anyone expects. Not a phone to record the arrest, not a tissue for sudden tears, but a wallet that flips open to reveal a military ID card and a badge. "Officers," she says, her voice suddenly carrying a command presence. I recognize instantly. "I need to know if you're planning to arrest a Silver Star recipient for defending a fellow soldier from assault with a deadly weapon? Because that's what just happened here." The officers stare at her identification, then at each other. "You're military?" the older cop asks me, skepticism evident. Lauren answers for me. "Master Sergeant Jack Randall, 5th Special Forces Group. 2 tours in Vietnam, 1 in Grenada. I checked his service record after the 3rd time he came in here. The man has more combat experience than this entire department combined." I stare at her, pieces clicking into place. The way she'd studied me those first weeks, her recognition of my hypervigilance, the careful questions about my past that I'd always deflected. "And you are?" the younger officer asks her. "Former Sergeant Lauren Mathis, combat medic, 3rd Battalion, 1st Marines. Helmand Province, 2018. She tucks her ID away. "I'm the victim here, officers. These men were harassing me and drew a weapon when Sergeant Randall intervened. If anyone should be arrested, it's them." The diner has gone utterly silent. I see the exact moment the officers decide this isn't worth the paperwork. Mayor's son, or not, arresting decorated veterans, especially a disabled female Marine, makes for terrible optics. "We'll need statements from both of you," the older officer says, already backing toward the door. "But it can wait until tomorrow. At the station," he adds pointedly. After they leave, the diner erupts in conversation. Several patrons approach to shake my hand or pat my shoulder, suddenly brave now that the danger has passed. I accept their delayed support with stoic nods, but my focus remains on Lauren. When the commotion subsides, she brings me a fresh coffee. "You never mentioned you were Special Forces," she says, sliding into the seat across from me. "You never mentioned you were a Marine," I counter. A ghost of a smile touches her lips. "Fair enough. How long have you known?" I finally ask. "About me?" "Since the 2nd week you started coming in. The way you always sit facing the door. How you clock everyone who enters. The 1,000-yard stare when the kitchen makes a loud noise." She shrugs. "Takes one to know one." I study her face. Really, looking at her for the first time. Behind the customer service smile and efficient movements, I see the shadows of battles fought, of comrades lost, of pain endured. I see myself 40 years ago, trying to reintegrate into a world that couldn't. Understand what I'd seen or done. "Helmand?" I ask, though I already know. She nods. "Convoy hit an IED. I was treating the wounded when a secondary ambush hit. RPG took out our position." Her eyes drop briefly to her missing arm. "Lost 2 men I was working on. Nearly bled out. Myself. Honorable discharge, Purple Heart, and a lifetime of people either staring or pretending not to notice. Why this place?" I gesture around the diner. "With your training." "Why do you come here every day?" she interrupts, a knowing look in her eyes. I don't answer. We both know why. Some days it's enough just to be seen by someone who understands the weight of the silence we carry. The door chimes again, and Lauren glances up, then back at me. I should get back to work. Of course, she stands, but hesitates. There's a group, veterans. We meet Thursdays at the community center. Nothing formal, just people who get it. She taps the table twice with her fingertips. "If you're interested," I nod, something tight in my chest easing slightly. I might be. As Lauren returns to her duties, I notice something has changed. In the diner. The other customers are watching her differently now, not with pity or discomfort, but with a new awareness. The whispers have a different tone. "Did you hear? Marine, combat medic, Purple Heart." I finish my coffee and leave my usual generous tip. As I stand to go, a strange thing happens. The elderly couple by the window begin to applaud. Then the businessman at the counter joins in. Within seconds, the entire diner is clapping. For me, for Lauren, for something most of them will never fully understand. Lauren catches my eye across the room, her expression a complex mixture of embarrassment, pride, and something like peace. She offers a small nod, soldier to soldier, survivor to survivor. Outside, the spring air feels cleaner somehow. I straighten my shoulders, an old habit from another lifetime, and begin the walk home. For the first time in months, I don't feel the phantom weight of a rifle across my back. For the first time in years, I think I might sleep without dreams of falling arms and desert sand. Sometimes the heaviest burdens are the ones we carry alone. Sometimes the greatest act of courage isn't what we do in combat, but what we do after, reaching across the silence to remind another soldier that the war, at least this one small battle of it, is finally over.